Hello, people of the world, and welcome to the Modern Truths Throwback Thursday. I'm MJ, here with Alex Storm, and we're getting ready to do what we always do on Throwback Thursday. We're going to talk about an old school movie. So, Alex, what movie are we going to talk about today?
So this week we watched the original Iron Man movie because Ant-Man is coming out, and it came out in 2008. It starred Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow, and Terrence Howard. What'd you think?
And it was directed by Jon Favreau.
Oh, yeah, directed by him.
Yeah. What did I think?
Yeah.
What did you think, Alex?
It was my first time seeing it, and, comic book movies aren't necessarily my thing, but I enjoyed it. I felt like more engaged than I've been in a lot of the other comic book movies I've seen. The whole beginning part was super grounded. He's like trapped. I know it's like the original backstory of Iron Man, which is less interesting to comic book people and comic book fans. But for me, not knowing it, I was interested in that part. And even once he got the suit, all the action was, I don't know, I felt like it was pretty brief, but it was engaging. So I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, being a hardcore Marvel Studios guy, having seen every single one of their films, it was fun to go back and rewatch this because I'd only seen it one time, and that was when I saw it in theaters, 7 years ago. To just really think, first of all, that's not really that long ago, and how far or how much has changed in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's like there were like 3 action scenes in this movie, and they were all, like you said, very grounded, very just basic, straightforward. And I remember watching this and being so like amped up off of him like blowing up that tank or whatever, or like shooting a couple of rockets at some dudes. But like, this is awesome. And then we fast forward to something like Avengers: Age of Ultron, where the first scene is just all kinds of just batshit insanity, comic book stuff going on.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot more emotional core in this film, and I feel like Robert Downey Jr., he's pretty much the anchor of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, but this was the movie that really set up the character, and frankly, this is the most human that the character of Tony Stark has been in the entire MCU.
Yeah, after having only seen him in the Avengers movies, that's what I was expecting. I was expecting it to burst into action, and for him to just be this, like, hollow, like, kind of funny, kind of burned out guy, but he was, I mean, he's still kind of a hollow, like, unhappy character, like, super driven scientist, engineer guy. But he's funny, and he's kind of a quirky character.
Yeah.
And I liked him way more in this movie than in the Avengers movies that I saw.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's kind of weird, like, think about the first Avengers, he was okay, he got in where he fit in, but the second Avengers, again, his character and the way he's just, like, so flippant about destroying the world, all that stuff. And you think about him compared to this movie, and there is a huge difference because in this movie, he's like taking accountability for being an arms dealer and killing people.
Yeah.
When he thinks he's out to save people.
Moment.
Yeah, and so that's a huge arc for him in this film. And so to then go where he is now, where it's just like he's a caricature of himself essentially, just kind of like whatever, just do whatever he wants to do. It almost feels like it's 2 different characters. I mean, it's the same guy being kind of goofy and being amped up. But the character's motivations seem very different in the original Iron Man than they do from, the latest incarnation of the character.
There's also this thing of they're feeling like there's some sort of a cost to the movie. Like, maybe because it is so much more human than the other superhero movies, it feels like they're real people living in a real world. It doesn't feel nearly as fake. It doesn't feel like nobody can die. It doesn't feel like there aren't any stakes.
Yeah.
Which maybe also up the engagement, especially at the beginning part. All kinds of people die right at the beginning of the movie.
I was going to say, people die. Yeah, I mean, and really, that's what I'm saying. It's so weird to think, like, as the movies have made more and more money, it seems like the studio is more and more concerned about, appealing to as many people as possible. Like, when I watched this movie, another thing I took away from it was that, like, I don't think of this as a family film in the way that I think of the Avengers as a family film. I think of this as a adult film. I mean, that's something for grown people. Like, I mean, teenagers and above. Like, this is not something that your 7-year-old would just be totally stoked on necessarily, because it's like, it is kind of slow. The first action sequence doesn't start until like 38, 40 minutes into the movie. And it's really expecting you to sort of just go along for the ride with this character, So yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm, singing a sad song for how Marvel Studios films used to be, because this also came out the same year that The Incredible Hulk came out, and that was a bomb and wasn't any good, and, just isn't that great of a film, one of the worst films in the entire MCU. So, it's still possible that things won't always go great for MCU, but, like, I guess for me, because I guess you haven't seen Iron Man 2 and 3.
I haven't seen any of them.
So
no.
I can even think about his character in those two movies. And yeah, it's just like they're just taking it and amping it up and taking it to the next level. This movie just did a really good job of sort of honing into the core of who the character is and really setting it up. And it sort of deserves its place as a sort of the beginning of the MCU as we know it. And I will say, I kind of wish that things would kind of go back to the way this movie was, in the sense that the scale has to get larger and larger with each movie. That's not necessarily the best thing. Now, there's a nice fit somewhere between him fighting the Ironmonger or whatever the hell the character's name is in the street at nighttime in the finale of Iron Man versus
20 dudes fighting a million
lifting
dudes.
an island and all kinds of other crazy things that
It
happen.
can only get so big before it's been done over and over again and it gets
Well,
boring.
but that's the thing. So, I mean, I guess this is kind of a, sad Throwback Thursday because of the way the MCU is, it's hard to just talk about one movie, I feel like, And so you say it can only get so big. Well, Infinity Wars is coming out in 2018. It's going to get bigger, man.
So that's as big as it could possibly get, maybe.
It's going to be world-destroying stuff now. So, and that's what I'm saying. It's like to think that, like, in only 7 short years, they went from a fairly intimate story about a man in his iron suit to, a man and his 5 superpowered friends, amongst which include 90-year-old super soldiers and Norse gods. It is a bit, actually really even more impressive when you think about what Marvel's pulled off.
They've taken it really far. They took it and ran.
Yeah.
So before we're done, we need to talk about the role of women in this movie.
Okay.
And the diversity in the movie.
Okay.
I was personally, like I have been with most Marvel movies that I've seen, disappointed with the role that women get to play in this. They're pretty non-characters. He has Gwyneth Paltrow as his, kind of hot.
Yeah,
kind of hot, like secretary, personal assistant.
It's a matter of preference, I suppose.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Definitely, and political correctness. But, she's it. There's like a few other girls who are, I don't know, his side pieces or something, and she's like just willing to do anything for him, like sacrificing herself, and, I didn't like that part at all.
Yeah. It was funny. I mean, the portrayal of the woman in the movie definitely just lame. I mean, the reporter that ends up having sex with him and then she comes back and calls him out later. It's just like even the whole the logic behind the whole thing just makes absolutely no sense. It was just weird. And talk about diversity. I mean, well, Terrence Howard is James Rhodes in this.
Who's his also almost his assistant, like another person who's like.
I wouldn't say he's an assistant. Well, see, I guess it's tough. I don't want to go that far only because the character of Tony Stark. The reason I think that it doesn't seem as bad is because he's just so whacked the fuck out, basically. Like, he doesn't seem like a normal guy who's treating people like shit. He seems like this completely crazy, eccentric billionaire dude. So he doesn't treat anyone nicely. So it's like, it'd be one thing if it was like, yeah, he's just shitting on the black guy, just shitting on the women, but he's just shitting on everybody, okay? So
he's unpleasant.
Yeah, he's not even taking his own, like, death seriously. But, I don't know, man. I don't want to, run too long. But, yeah, just think about, like, the stakes in the franchise. Again, it's like, yeah. Like, I felt him, like, freaking out when he got blown up, and he was like, "Oh my God!" And I felt him freaking out when he woke up. And was like, "What the hell is this inside of me?" Like it felt like, yeah, I'd be kind of freaking out too if I woke up and had some thing, hooked up to a battery in my body. You know what I'm saying? And so even that, it was almost like a more horror element to it. It was definitely again just a much more serious, heavy film with still enough levity for it to work for everybody.
Gave you some feels.
Gave you some feels. But, I mean, Marvel and their lack of diversity, they're finally addressing it a little bit. They're going to be coming out with a Black Panther movie soon. And, again, we have Falcon and War Machine as a part of the new Avengers now. So there are some brown faces, but we need to get some other people in there, man. Captain Marvel, which will be the first solo female flick, is not coming out anytime soon. We don't even have any casting information about that. So come on, Marvel, get your act together, man. Let's put some more colorful people into these franchises.
And not only use women as plot devices.
Yeah.
Or sex symbols.
Yeah, I heard they did the same thing in Ant-Man, but we haven't seen that yet. So maybe we'll address that at a later point. I think we pretty much covered what we want to cover about Iron Man.
Got it.
Yeah, so that will conclude this episode of Throwback Thursday. Thank you again for watching. I am MJ. Again, you can follow me at The Only MJ on Twitter. She is...
I'm Alex Storm. You can follow me at Alex Storm, TMT, as in The Modern Truth.
And themoderntruth.com is where you can find all of our Throwback Thursday videos any new discussion videos, and all the news you need to know. Thanks again for tuning in, folks, and take care.